Darkglass fans, I'm Steve. I got a little special treat for you today. Is it special? I don't know. It's a how-to video. How exciting. But I just wanted to introduce myself. So yeah, I'm Steve Simmons. I do not work for Darkglass. I just, you know, I was excited about this update, and since the documentation's not out there yet, I decided to go through it and just do it, figure out how it worked and all that. So I went ahead and did that, and I got something to share for you. But anyway, let's get on. Today I'm talking about Darkglass Aggressively Distorting Advanced Machine, or it used to be called the A.D.A.M, and I'm going to call it that because it's a lot simpler than saying all that. So what the focus of this video is using the A.D.A.M with MIDI, and they just had an update 2 days ago which made this pedal usable for me, and I'm very excited about it. I was excited to have a Darkglass pedal that had MIDI capability, and then I got it and saw that the functions weren't there, and I was a little disappointed. Now we've got it, it works. I'm going to show you how that works. Okay, here's my rig. The center, the brain of all of this, I don't want to say the center, is the BOSS ES-8. This is my MIDI switcher. It's also a looper. It's got 8 separate loops, actually 9 with the volume, with the send, the effect send or to the amp. And I've been able to put most of these pedals into the loops. I've got some before and some outside of it, but anyway, I'm not going to go into all that. The cool thing about this is, besides having the loops, you can also turn pedals on and off, setting in using MIDI to bypass or either activate each one of these. So you can even have some of these in line and use just specific pedals. The other thing is I can use this expression pedal to control any of the parameters on any of these pedals. Well, most of these, the MIDI capable ones, at different times. So I can set modulation rates or delay rates, or, you know, delay times, or even just like intensity of effects, or change the level in the mix. I can run through different presets on each one of these pedals, including this whammy here. And, you know, I can set it up to each one of these. I've got the PCs written for a lot of those just on the pedal itself. I mean, when you get into MIDI, you're talking about networking, and it becomes a little complicated sometimes. So I try to keep good records of where everything's at. And, you know, on each of my pedals, I've got the MIDI channel, and I've got like the loop that it's in. Just because it's hard to keep track of all this stuff. But today we're talking about the A.D.A.M. So what I wanted to do today was show how to set this up to work with the ES-8 and utilize these new MIDI functions that Darkglass just put out, which are very cool. So stand by just 1 minute. I'm going to plug all this in and we'll continue. Okay, this is fun and all, but I'm new to this video shooting, so I'm doing a little bit of back and forth, and at different times, different places. So I want to go over the programming of the A.D.A.M right now. And right now I've got the A.D.A.M hooked up to my MacBook using USB-C. The cable's going into there. And let's go ahead and I'm going to open up the Darkglass suite. Hey, cool. And it pulls up on my screen. Okay, so it pulls up with a cab sim. I'm not going to mess with any of that right now. My focus on this video is MIDI. So I'm going to go into device configuration. It's got all the general stuff. Again, not going to mess with the general, DSP, or firmware. I'm going straight to mapping. Now, the big thing with this latest update was they gave you MIDI channels. Before, it would take all any program change on any channel, and it would affect the settings on the A.D.A.M, which made it absolutely unusable for me. This channel just makes the whole difference. I can now put this thing on my board and it will play nice with all my other pedals. So I want to kind of go over some of the programming here. So you set your channel. I set it to 5. I recommend setting this encoder rotation type to per value. It just makes it so much simpler. I'll get into that in just a minute. It operates a little bit differently than normal MIDI, but it makes sense in this case. Okay, the big thing on the program changes, you got your presets A, B, C, D, E, and F with the 3 new ones. I've got it set up, and I think the default right now I've just got it set up to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So A, B, C, D, E, F. And then I've got the tuner set up to 6. I've got the bypass set up to 7. I've got the lock set up to 8. Again, I think this is all just how it was default. And I'm just going to leave it as it is right now. Performance lock is kind of interesting because if you lock it, you then cannot use the expression pedal features. So I don't think that I'm going to be using that a lot. I'll just set the pedal up at the top of my board, and I just won't hit it with my feet. So anyway, so I don't see much need in using that right now. It's nice to have as a feature, but in my case, I'm not going to be using it. The one thing I really do not like is this save to section, using the PCs to save to. That's just dangerous. In some controllers, as you scroll through the PCs, it sends out a real-time message to change the PC on the target device. So on the A.D.A.M, the way that it works is as you're scrolling through any of these, and if nothing's changed and you go to like preset 9 on here or PC 9, nothing will happen. But if you're using expression pedal, say, and you decide to change the drive knob, and then you go from, you scroll up through the preset and you hit 9, it will then overwrite your preset A, which kind of scares me. So I'd really rather they used a control change and a value for that, either on or off. The way that you do that in CCs is 0 to 63 or 64 to 127 is either on or off. Usually that's the case. But anyway, as it is, we've got these set up 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So those will set that save to whatever preset there. Let's see, then you've got the control changes. Now, the potentiometers, they've got this set up really nicely here, so it all just makes sense. You got your different potentiometers there, and you've got the one on the back of the headphone. That correlates to compression, drive, character, blend, level, and you got your headphone volume. Then you got your sliders, and these are the CC values, and then you set, or the CC numbers, and then you set a value within each of those, and that's how the expression pedal works. So your sliders, you got 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 on the screen. You can set these up to be whatever you want, which is kind of cool. And there are some reasons you would want to change them at various times, just so they make more sense to you. Let's see, and then you've got your encoder rotation. So I've got it set up 21, 22, 23. Now, back up here, the encoder rotation type. So if you set it to full range, you've got 6 different values, off, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, all separated between 0 and 127. So if you look here, I've got it set up, the way that it normally operate using MIDI CCs is 0 to 21 would be off, 22 to 42 would be selection 1, 23 to 63, selection 2, and so on and so on. Well, that's always a pain to try to figure out. But Darkglass has included this per value. So what that does is it basically sets So if you want to go change the compressor ratio, 0 is off, 1 is selection 1, 2 selection 2, 3, 4, 5. Very cool. I like the way they did that. So thanks for including that, I guess. You know, one really cool thing. So once you get all this stuff in, get it set up the way you want it, and you can turn any of these on or off. So you can get rid of some of these functions, like I don't want the lock, so bam, that's now disabled. I could also do that with saves, because I don't really want to save A, B, and C. I can do that right on the pedal itself. Unfortunately, right now, you need to access D, E, and F. You need MIDI, as far as I can tell, unless they've got some other way that's not listed anywhere. And the way to save those is also requires MIDI. So that's a little weird. I hope that they've got just another way to do that, and that'll come out. They'll let us know soon. So you get everything set up, you hit save. All right, then I can disconnect my pedal and get that out of there. And this one is difficult. Probably don't need to see that, but anyway, disconnect the pedal. Okay, we are back. So now I've got the A.D.A.M plugged in with a a TRS type B cable. So that's plugged into just a regular 5-DIN normal MIDI plug. So that's coming out of the last pedal in that chain. Goes from there. Got this cable made, plug it into here. And now the A.D.A.M is set up and along with all these MIDI pedals. Now on the ES-8, I saved a bank to test this stuff out. I've got it set up so right now you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That corresponds to the different A, B, C, D, E, F. I've got set up as a tuner. And I've got bypass. Like I said, I'm not going to use the performance lock because that kind of kills the ability to use the expression pedal with some of these parameters. So anyway, I don't find myself wanting to use that. So I'm going to show you how to program this now. Okay, here I am. I'm working on the BOSS ES-8. We're going to program this now. The A.D.A.M's been programmed already using the Darkglass suite on the Mac OS, and saved it, disconnected, plugged it all into this here. So to do this, I've got a bank set up just for the purpose of this demonstration, and you know how to set it up. So bank 20, I've got it set. I'll go through different banks on here. And then for each of the banks, then I've got different, I can send out different PCs or functions with these buttons. So right now we're on the preset 1. So to program this thing, I'm going to go into Edit. I'm going to go into Patch. I'm going to come over to the MIDI. Now, when I click on this, I want it to send a MIDI message to channel 5, which is what I've got the A.D.A.M set up as. And I want it to send out PC number 1. Now, a thing to note is there's old school MIDI and there's new school MIDI protocols. Old school is 0 to 127. New school is 1 to 28. The BOSS uses 1 to 28. The A.D.A.M uses 0 to 127. It's just something you're gonna have to get used to because pedals vary, every pedal varies, or every manufacturer varies. So right now, PC 1 is actually, on the A.D.A.M, is going to correlate to PC 0, which I've got it set up on my MacBook. I've got, just for reference, I've got the different PCs, and those are set up in my different control changes there. So PC 1, which corresponds to PC 0 on the A.D.A.M. So I set that up. I go ahead and hit right. And now I would come, so when I do that, I mean, it's all set up anyway, but it corresponds to A, preset A. I come over to my 2 button. I want to do the same thing for each one of these. 5 is going to go to 2, which corresponds to B on the A.D.A.M. Hit right. And I want to do that for each one of these. All right, and it's all set to go on all of these, so I don't think I need to belabor that point. But that works as expected, just perfectly with the BOSS ES-8. It's very cool to have some additional presets on this and to get those different settings. Like I said, I've also got the tuner and then the bypass. So do the same thing with those. If I go into preset 7 on here, I go into the editing, edit MIDI 5. I've got set up 7, which correlates to 6 on the A.D.A.M or the tuner. Same with the bypass. The other cool thing I want to show you was the expression pedal. Now, I can get this expression pedal, bring this over here now, to change these different parameters. Any of these parameters. I can send out 12 different assigns for each patch on the ES-8. So that turn on, set presets for multiple pedals, different control changes like this. The way that I do that is come into this again. You got your patch, you got your control. What this menu does is for each one of these buttons or functions, inputs, you can set what it's supposed to do. We are going to look at expression 2. I've got that set to my expression 2. I hit that, make sure that the function is expression 2. It is, it's good. Then, oops, go back into this. Then I've got, in that same menu, I've got assigns. So these are these different, 12 different assigns. Either send out a tap message or whatever, lots of things. I shouldn't get into all that. So I hit enter. I want to set this up to this expression to control some of these. So I turn the switch on. The source is the expression 2, the modifier. And we come over to, you got a lot of different options here. You can change the loop, external control, in, out, mode, MIDI. MIDI is what we're interested in. Change LED lights, beats per minute. But we are interested in MIDI. Again, I've got it set to channel 5. That is the Darkglass A.D.A.M. And in this case, I've got assign 1 set up to control change 2. Control change 2 is, my screen just went off, the drive. So 1, 2, this is CC2. So as I come over here in the menu, CC2, come over here, and then you set your high and low, minimum and maximum values. So it's going to go from 0 to 127. 64 is about midway. And then I go ahead and write that out. And as you see, watch the drive. So I put the expression heel down, it's at 0, toe down is 127. As you see, this one's moving too. I come over here and do the same thing for, set another assign to, let's go ahead and change this. So turn that on, expression 2, MIDI, channel 5, we'll change it to the character, so that's 3. I've got that set up to go from the minimum value, so heel down, it's going to be 127, or like that. Max, so toe down is going to be 64, about right there. I'll set that to 0, well, let's set it right there for now, so we can see how it works. I go through right, and then I come over here, I use my expression, activate that, and as you can see, it's changing those on the fly. I could also do this with the EQ settings. So at the end of a song, if I want the bass to like go insane at the end, or set the bass to go insane, set the drive and turn the compression way down, and turn the blend way up, you know, if you want to just make it ring out and go crazy. You know, you can set all those different parameters to change. Meanwhile, you can do the same thing with delays and modulation on these pedals, or your octaver, or your EQ, or, you know, add in some synth sounds. MIDI is just so cool. It just opens up possibilities to do, you know, automate things that would be really hard. That you would be sitting down on the floor messing with multiple knobs at once. That's cool, but so much cooler just in a performance setting to just go ahead and just set it up to do it all automatically. So that's it. I hope that was informative. I know it's probably a bit longer, and I know hem and haw, but you know, I hope that it can help some people. I waited a long time for this, and really excited about it. So hey, take care. Thanks, Darkglass.